there's a lot of difficulty people are going to be facing getting into the city center, most especially. But for us of NTV Road, we are so happy because we no longer have to suffer the pain and the cost of a rainy morning. And I'm talking about the drainages that are now clear. You won't be finding the waters, especially with the newly constructed area code between Chibuye and what you have as the city center. So we want to thank the responsible authorities for that. Now, bring it back into studio. Our Kickstarter is going to be one, of course, that is stemming from the events of the last 24 hours, in which, as each one of you know, yesterday we do have Honorable Mpuuga having called for a presser to officially speak his side of the truth and what he speaks of the party and what's the way forward at the end of the day. So in our Kickstarter, we're going to be focusing on the Mpuuga Factor and what next generally for the National Unity Platform. Of course, we do have a lot of pressure that is coming in left, right and center. You've seen those stories here and there. So many of you have reacted to some of these comments that were made, especially yesterday, and it begs the question, what is the next step for the rift between the party leadership, that is through Robert Kyagulanyi and of course his deputy there, Mpuuga. Well, we're pleased to be joined by one who subscribes to the National Unity Platform and also represents the people of Makindye in Parliament. Honorable Nyeko, you're most welcome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Your salutations to our audience.
Very good morning to whoever is listening in and watching in. We thank the Almighty God that has enabled literally each and everyone to join us today in this very morning. It has rained. The weather has been too hot, and I hope it's a relief to everyone. Oh yes. All
right, so let's get into the gist of the matter this morning. Yesterday you do have the honorable member Mpuuga coming out and giving a presser. Let's first pick your comments. What were your pick-outs from that presser he gave?
Well, to me, I think the honorable Mpuuga did not come out clearly and did not say the honest truth to the world, to Ugandans, because it's hypocritical to come out and claim that the party leadership is not performing according to your expectations, and yet you are the deputy president, and yet you have been the leader of the parliamentary team for 2.5 years. So it is really hypocritical for him to come out and claim that we are not running on the agendas of the party and that he has not been participating. Well, Ugandans for several times have witnessed us having retreats and meetings, and we have come out to give resolutions on what we have been discussing in our meetings, and truly the Right Honorable Mpuuga has been part of these meetings. It is only that in politics people change, and as a person I was quite disappointed in his approach of resolving issues and as well addressing the nation, especially when it comes to a party he is belonging to, because he claimed that he was just out of the party. Well, we have accountability questions on how Parliament has been running, and he has been our leader in the opposition as our team leader. So if we ask of questions of how has the Commission been operating, if we ask questions about misuse of office, if we ask questions about accountability of taxpayers' money in the Commission, we expect answers about accountability on taxpayers' money. We do not expect answers on how the party is being run. We do not expect answers because on tribal segments. We do not expect all that on quite a few issues that he has been raising up. But to me personally, I'm quite very disappointed, and I go by the party decision. You see, the Commission at the end of the day, the Right Honorable Mpuuga was representing the core values of the NUP, that what we stand for as the opposition. The makers of the Constitution were wise enough to make sure that the Commission does not only have those in the ruling government at any time, but also has opinions of the other opposition, so that the other parties, so that they do not connive in and agree on misallocating or misuse of parliament resources.
Okay, all right. Of course, we do have. We just want to give you, a clip of how things transpired yesterday. Makindye was able to cover this presser, and this is what the Honourable had to say in horse's mouth.
In the recent days, the National Unity Platform Party has written a couple of letters on the alleged misconduct of the Deputy Party President in charge of Central Uganda, Mpuuga. In their most recent letter, the party called for Mpuuga to be relieved of his position as Commissioner of Parliament. This came after the party accused Mpuuga of accepting a 500 million shilling service award, which has been termed as corruption on his part. Today, Mpuuga, the MP for Mukungwe, addressed the media at Parliament, where he vowed not to leave the party, to which he contributed greatly during its founding.
So whoever thought that they're hounding me out of NUP, I'm here to assure them that whichever indiscipline, mismanagement, mischievous maneuvers we are going to be in. If you are a leader, a full soldier with bought data to abuse and insult, you insult me from within. And I'm here for keeps.
The Mukungwe MP says he has never had any ill will towards the party.
We must regain public confidence as NUP and as the opposition, trust and demonstrate that we are worthy the people's support in leading the charge for change.
Mpuuga says that from the onset, the issues in the party were never about accountability, but it was always a move to attack him.
In the kind of circumstances, it's not difficult to tell that the objective was never on accountability, because no one provides accountability on social media or at press conferences.
The former leader of opposition in Parliament says that during this time of bickering within the party, a lot has been happening on the government side, which has gone unnoticed by the opposition.
General Museveni has been candid to us, at least, over his dynasty agenda, including the latest reshuffles in the EPDF that saw his son ascend to the helm of the country's military. Unfortunately, the largest opposition party in the country looks clueless and unable to guide its bruised cadreship on what next. Even the renewal of the term of the EC commissioners, who bungled and defeated with the last election, did not raise the curiosity of the largest opposition party in the country.
Mpuuga, the party's deputy president in charge of Central Uganda, says he will embark on the reform process on how the party is run, and it will focus on discipline.
By the end of the planned NUP reform process that I've pledged, arbitrary, obscurantist, and deviant work methods, lack of internal conflict resolution mechanisms, nepotism, corruption, greed, and abuse of office, including extortion and blackmail, will be a thing of the past.
Mpuuga adds that during this time he has not met with the party president since all these issues came up.
I've only been hearing him speak on the media, at funerals and at press conferences, and others, trying so hard to convince the country that I'm a terrible human being, and the country has not accepted. So we have not met. Unfortunately, maybe in the coming days we will be able to meet, if it pleases.
Mpuuga says his commitment has been for better Uganda, and he has never been corrupt or even been convicted for that matter.
Okay, all right, that's where things stand as of this morning. Mpuuga says he wants to be leaving in the National Unity Platform, but he also wants to have as much reform within the leadership and how the party is being run, to take it back to the basic principles for which it was formulated in the first place. And so that's a question that we're going to probably get an answer from Honourable Nyeko here, who's joining us for this debate. Now, going back to how these affairs come into, present day, we do have an element that he mentions, a letter, of course, that's being addressed to the Speaker of Parliament, asking that he be taken off the commission. And that letter may be coming from a good place on the side of the National Unity Platform. But of course, it's not the National Unity Platform's authority and place to scrape him off that position, even though it's a recommendation that they give because of what they believe has happened with one of their leaders. Now, in that aspect there, if we were to go by the rules of law and procedure in Parliament, of course, then the Speaker is the one to respond, because even regardless of the fact that it's the National Unity Platform that did the nomination of this person, it's the hands and the powers are in the Speaker to have received that nomination and having accepted that nomination, awarded the position, and then that means even the reversal is still in the Speaker's powers. So are you not addressing the letter to the, to the wrong person?
Well, I do believe he who has the powers to nominate has the powers to call out the nomination, and it is provided in the Constitution. And now we are going to seek for a constitutional interpretation when it comes to that, and we are hoping for that. Now that the Speaker has come out openly to disclose it, that he won't be in position to let the Right Honourable Mpuuga out of the commission, then we are going to ask for a constitutional interpretation and let the courts judge and give us that interpretation. So we are quite very certain and sure that me personally, I do believe right now the Honourable Mpuuga is not my commissioner. Then who does he represent? If we, the party, nominated him and seconded him for the position, then why don't he resign if there are allegations against him? Why doesn't he do the moral right thing? Why doesn't he be honest to the country? Why doesn't he come out and actually address the real issue, the real problem? Well, as the party, we have an obligation and we have principles and values that we stand in, that we are willing to stand by. And once we got to know of his engagement in the bonanza, the 500 million bonanzas at which they allocated at themselves, well, we recalled him for a meeting. The party called him for a meeting, of which they agreed that he would resign in the next 24 hours. He will ask for time to prepare his family.
Agreed, including him?
Yes. Okay. Yes, that is why I'm calling him a very dishonest man. He's a very dishonest man, of which they agreed that in 24 hours he would come out openly and resign in a more humble way, in a more honorable way, so that we can attack the real problem of the day. Well, so that we can, you see, the commission is composed of the Speaker, the commissioners, and the Prime Minister, and all these people are part of the commission. But then we have a bigger problem of the allocations of billions of resources that were misused in a time whereby the Honourable Mpuuga was representing our views on this commission. You see, the reason why I told you that the commissioner has people from nominated from the opposition as well, so that they cannot connive together and steal or misuse public money allocated to Parliament as a commission. So all these happenings on social medias are because of one man who failed to represent our views on the commission. We remember that the Honourable Zake was dismissed off the commission because he started asking questions of accountability, and that is the whole reason behind. After 2 weeks away from Honourable Zake's dismissal, all the things happening on social medias, on the exhibition of Parliament, the Speaker allocating to herself $4,000 instead of $990 per day. We have seen members, employees of Parliament receiving billions and billions of money on personal accounts. We have a question of the employees, over 200 of them, how they have been employed in Parliament. People expect that Parliament, people would go on merit. They would qualify to have these jobs on merit, not basing on the relations they have with the people in power, but those that qualify to have those jobs to be in position to work for such a honorable house, you know. But as well, there are questions of how the commission allocated to themselves the 500 and the 400 million, which is wrong and against the law. So if there are these questions and we want to address them and look at them as the NUP, so the first thing for us to do was to recall our own, and if he admitted, which he did, then sit down and we attack the, the bigger corruption scandal in Parliament, and that would bring us clearly to the world on our stand when it comes to corruption, because we as the NUP, we are zero tolerant to corruption. Okay,
all right. Of course, you speak of a meeting that happened closed doors. There's no evidence of it. No minutes have been presented thereof. And so we don't know which side is which right now. But you have talked about attacking the real problem. So if the original plan for attacking the real problem is not working out for the National Unity Platform,
it is working out.
What other ways are you actually attacking the real problem? And when you say the real problem, exactly what are you referring to?
You see, this whole issue about the Honorable Mpuuga is not the question. We are not attacking the person of the Honorable Mpuuga. We are looking for accountability, and we need the Speaker of Parliament, we need the Clerk of Parliament, we need all these people who have been alleged to come out and explain to the country on these allegations. We need them to come out and give accountability on the resources that are allocated to the Commission that have been misused. We need them to come out proper on the misuse of offices when it comes to allocation of jobs, and we need them to come out clearly on whatever is happening in the Commission. Like I mentioned, we sent our own representative, and who is the Honorable Mpuuga. Today, if the Honorable Mpuuga, with whatever is happening, he knew whatever is exploiting out there. And our question today is, we can go ahead and move a motion. It is not that we cannot move a motion as members of Parliament. But even when we know that a majority are NRM and would support the style and administration of the Honorable Mpuuga, we will still go ahead and do the right thing, just as we are going to do the same right thing when it comes to the Speaker if she decides to abstain from the accountability question.
And what would that be?
Of course, we would go ahead to move a censor for the Speaker. That should not be a doubt.
Okay. All right. You've talked about resource allocation, and of course, let's go back 2 times, the 40 million Ugandan shillings that appears on members of Parliament's accounts after a supplementary budget has been passed. Did you receive that money?
No, I didn't.
It didn't appear on your accounts?
Yeah. No, actually, this money was not sent to people on their accounts. This money was given to individuals in cash. In cash? In cash.
Okay. So was that cash presented to you and rejected it?
Of course. We have passed through more temptations in the House, and there are allegations of corruption that I personally have seen, and probably I was reached out to go and pick this money, but I decided not to because of the values I stand for, because of that oath I made to Ugandans, to my party, and to my principles as a person.
Okay. You being in the House presently, what other elements or loopholes do you see are actually aiding this vice of corruption?
Well, I must say that the greedy politicians, you see, what we earn is quite enough for a member of Parliament. And we must properly use these resources that we have been allocated to, and so that we do not take on expenses that are not meant to be ours. You see, if you run by thinking that you're going to be in position to solve each problem in the constituency financially by you, then you're going to miss out on your obligation to task government to perform those roles. You see, if the people are demanding for better roads, it's not the role of a member of Parliament to go and personally finance. Though we have a social responsibility just like any other person in the community, but it is not truly our obligation. So you must know how to run by your little finances that are allocated to you than looking for ways of making sure you accumulate a lot of money so that you address these issues personally. So we need to be that voice that people expect from us, so that we can put those in power and mandate them to perform their role.
Okay. Now, speaking of how to run things, back to the National Unity Platform, some people were of the view that right from inception of, this news coming to light of the 500 million shillings in relation to the Honorable Mpuuga, that perhaps through the National Unity Platform, they should have taken it systematically, and by that it's made in reference to the fact that maybe go through the disciplinary committee and it's handled on that level until reached a desired or undesirable resolution at the end of the day, which system we did see, because from that meeting you referred to, the next thing we had was that the principal coming out and giving him the 3 ultimatums, return the money, apologize, and of course abscond from the position of commissioner, which all of them have not happened in present day time. So it begs the question, what next for the National Unity Platform in response to the presser yesterday?
We are standing firm on our position. And we do not regret, because we do not have room for corruption. We do not have room for people that cannot account for the misuse of their offices. Well, as the party, trust me, the criteria at which they used was the very most best. Just imagine the Honorable Mpuuga with his position of the former leader of opposition, the deputy president, and being presented to NEC for the first time on allegations of corruption. How would he be handled? The best way to handle it was the president had to call on the senior leaders of the party of his same rank, the deputy presidents and other elders, so that they come up and sit and address the issue, of which the president has the powers, because the constitution we are running on and basing on is that we inherited from the leaders that had the ones that had the National Unity Platform by then. You all know how the National Unity Platform came up. But still, we have addressed this. We sat as the NEC and members of Parliament, and we came up with and approved the new constitution. It is now 1.5 years, and it has not been approved by EC. We want to run by the modern ways of democracy, because it's what we portray. Away from what we inherited, we sat down and put up clear committees and structures in the party that could enable us be a democratic party. But we are waiting on EC, and it is deliberate to keep us on a wait.
Okay, so in that regard, for example, let's take the example of recently the president, with the Mabati saga last year, everyone had been calling on the heads of some of these ministers, to be put to discipline because of that corruption. And so through the anti-corruption court and, the judiciary, they've been trying to manage that situation. And with the reshuffle, you did have some ministers being stripped of their power and position. And of course, embedded in that is the Mabati saga. So when we come back to the National Unity Platform, in what way could you actually use more power and authority to put the stance down that you are not for corruption and you will not stomach it? For example, you could strip the powers there be of the deputy presidency from Honorable Mpuuga.
Well,
is that card on the table?
We want to look at incidences on how they're happening, and I do believe normally what happens, it is always somebody that comes out and complains or alleges of misuse of office. We know we have to base each and everything on facts. So now that he has come out openly and spelled to the world that he has not been part of the process, and we literally know that he has been our deputy president and he has been in the leadership and is disowning this position and the achievements of the party for all this time, then probably he's in a wrong position. He should stand down as well. Me personally, I do believe he no longer represents me as a deputy president as well, because of his ill allegations he made against the party. Well, even to General Museveni, now that 2 ministers are off the cabinet, it does not split out the fact that there are other corrupt ministers that were involved in the Mabati scandal.
It doesn't, but it also shows a direction or a step in the direction of fighting corruption. A
step we have taken against our own. A person who has been the former LOP, a person who is the deputy president, a person who is currently the commissioner. So we have come out openly and said, hello, what you did was against our norm. What you did does not stand for our principles, our values. So come out, stand down, and in a more honorable way, resign. It is the most honorable way we would expect the Honorable Mpuuga to act. Could it be even me, when allegations of such nature come up, I would be in position to say, you know, this is not what I signed for. Let me resign for the good of the party. We are not looking at an individual as the Honorable Mpuuga. We are looking at the wrong he did, and now we want to attack the real problem that is going to bring up that is going to bring up us to question the Speaker, the whole commission, on the operations of Parliament, on the bigger scandal. But of course, media is trying to downplay it to the Right Honorable Mpuuga, and is trying to come out every time these questions are going to be presented hard. Like on Thursday, we promised to this world that we shall come up and task the Speaker once again to explain on the accountability question, on the allegations. If at all they are wrong, come out as Parliament, dispute them. But we have gone ahead to write to the IGG, to the DPP, to the Financial Intelligence Unit, to come out and investigate. Hello, they have a mandate to keep this institution in check, and also to cap down corruption. So as we attack the bigger problem, we have our own who was involved, and the best thing was to first handle our issues as a party, then come out and address it to the whole House and the whole country at large, which we are progressing on. And we are quite sure that the public is pursuing us as the only political party willing to fight corruption. Hello, we have come out openly, even on those that think they should not be addressed to in such a manner. But wrong is wrong. You do not tell me that because a rich person has probably involved himself in killing and can afford a lawyer, and then we handle it different from that of a peasant who cannot afford a lawyer. It is all wrong. They have all committed a crime that they need to be answerable to, even taken to the courts of law to judge them. So we are asking for accountability questions, and no one is going to run away from this. There are no excuses are going to be made. The Right Honorable Mpuuga, together with his colleagues that decided to come down and misuse their offices, should account to the nation, and we are not going to be diverted by segments that are attacking individuals or the institution. What we want is clear. We want accountability, and we want them to come out as Parliament, as commissioners, to account on the allegations that have been placed on them. Okay, all right. So as you've heard it from the horse's mouth, Honorable Nyeko has said, of course, they had to have him step down from the leader of opposition, and that was awarded to somebody else, currently LOP leader being Joel Senyonyi of the National Unity Platform, and also the commissioner Badge being recommended that it be stripped of him, and then that will then trickle down to a party and its decision on whether they strip him of the deputy presidency badge. But on this other side, and perhaps maybe even this comes at a good time when we are heading towards the Easter period of the death and resurrection of Christ Jesus, can there be a death and resurrection of the relationship between this honorable member and the party? Because it is not a personal affair. You know, people did not have an argument. It is not an argument. It's a matter of breaking principles and values that bring us together. The reason why Nyeko left wherever he was, because he saw corruption as a danger to the society, because he looks at corruption as an enemy for progress. You see, the reason why we do not have better roads, it is because of the corruption. The reason why we have a lacking healthy sector, it is because of corruption. The reason why we have our mothers dying in hospitals while giving birth, it is because some people somewhere are corrupt, and Uganda loses around 11 trillion each financial year, and the people that account and are made to check government are involved in the same corruption. How will they have the moral authority to interrogate and investigate and check these other entities? So we need to address the issue of corruption not as a personal issue, but as a crime. Yeah, some people have committed a crime, and it is not basing on what somebody has done previously. But the best thing for him to do is to come out and resign. And as well, if he got this money, hello, take this money back. This is taxpayers' money. It is wrong. Take it back to the consolidated fund. Let it be used properly. But as well, let us have an honest opinion on these other monies that has been misused and misallocated, and let it come back as well to the consolidated fund. I do not want to move away from the bigger picture. You see, now the discussion is on the Right Honorable Mpuuga. It is because NUP has taken the right step, but the NRM has not taken the right step on its commissioners. The NRM and President Museveni came out recently and praised the Speaker for bribing the young MPs that have misused their own personal resources that were made to aid them, and General Museveni is praising her for this. This is wrong for the country. This is wrong for a fountain of honor to acknowledge that, you know, corruption is okay, and, you know, so and so is attacking you on basis of hello. The question is, can you account for the allegations that, you know, there are allegations? Can you account for this misuse of office and misuse of public funds?
Okay. All right. In the same presser, he comes out to say that he's not stepping down from the National Unity Platform.
Well, he does not represent us anymore.
But you said you're not attacking the person.
Because he does not represent
the values. So now, if you're not attacking the person, then you should be attacking the main reason. So whether with or without the person, your mandate still holds, doesn't it? Yeah. So now, going back to that, if he is one who's ready to have a conflict resolution in a more honorable way, as you had earlier been depicting it should be, and in his perspective, he's saying the more honorable way is that leaders, as party leaders, let's sit down and, you know, resolve our issues internally and go back to the core mandate of which the party was formed, for which he prides himself in having established the National Unity Platform. So is there room for that nature of resolution that is peaceful?
We have used the peaceful means. That is by calling him in the Council of
Honorable
Elders.
Nyeko, by peaceful, I mean, don't worry about stripping him of, you know, the responsibilities he holds right now, but instead, the party leaders, both, you know, Robert Chagulanyi and Mpuuga, have a meeting
to
mitigate the issues. And is that hiding wrong? You called for a there was a meeting that led to, you know, this issue that we speak of, and that meeting was in private with the party leadership. So why doesn't this issue also be handled in a way that he's suggesting is more noble of honorable members, is more noble of a party waiting in governance?
Well, he was called for a NEC meeting for his response. He did not show up. We had a parliamentary caucus meeting. He did not show up, and probably this would be a proper platform for him to honestly and you know, explain himself to the members of parliament of which he represents in the commission. So it would be properly, I would find it more honorable for him to have attended the meeting. I think that would address your worries. So it should never be a boardroom of a meeting of two people, because these are not issues between him and the party president. No, these are issues on the values of which we represent, you know, of so many Ugandans that have entrusted us with these positions, knowing that we shall capture and stand by their views.
Okay. Now, this picture, of course, has come out at a difficult time for opposition by and large in Uganda. You do have the FDC factions that are having their issues right now, and then now the other party, youngest of its kind, that really shook the tables in 2021, having their tables shaken internally. What does this speak into your internal party politics, and also the journey that there be remaining of the 2.5 years in ensuring that the party does not crumble, but instead thrives through this time, turbulent times?
You see, the NUP operates in a way that the lowest person, we're all at the same level. Even me as a member of parliament, the NUP's membership is only at 1,000 shillings. So we literally respect each and everyone's view in the party. And we have performed and acted in an angle that the common person would truly want his representatives to be questioned and acted upon if found wrong. Well, I must say that the people out there are very happy for our stand against corruption, on our leaders, and the fact that we have moved ahead and gone ahead, you know, to call them off when they seem to be wrong or when they have failed to explain themselves. And on the allegations, I think it's a score for us as the NUP, because it's for the first time. You know, there have been scandals. When you talk of the 40 million, it is not that all these other parties did not get involved in this scandal. No, it's not that their MPs did not get involved in these scandals. They got involved in these scandals, but they kept quiet and silent. So the world does not need a party that is going to be silent on real issues. You know, it should not be politicking all the time. You know, the world needs a leader that is going to come out, stand firm when it comes to corruption, which General Museveni has failed to do in the last 40 years. And that is why we are calling for his change. You know, literally people should know that we fight General Museveni. It is not a personal war. I may not personally have an issue with him, but I'm looking at thousands of people that are not getting justice in the justice system because of the structuring of the institutions, because of the personal attachment he attaches to institutions that are supposed to be performing for the services for the people, because of the way he runs government, because of those people that I'm not even related to that are passing on, because of the poor roads, because of the lack of medicine in the hospital, because of the children that have gone to school and today cannot access a fair play of employment. So these are things that we look at, and we think as a party we have addressed the real issues, and we are more confident that our people out there feel more reliable to us, and just as well we feel accountable to them. And this is how politicians should behave all over the world. They should be as honest as possible. Okay, all right. Your closing remarks, Honorable? Well, to all Ugandans, you know, we should differentiate between what's wrong and what is right, and we should come up and make our stand on what is wrong and what is right. It is as simple as that. And if we are to fight corruption, let it be our own brothers and sisters. Let it be our children. Well, let's raise them in a manner that, you know, the moral way of how to bring up a child, of telling him you have to compete for this, you know, you have to properly address this, you know, how you want your children to manage their families at the end of the day. It should be the same perspective, because it all starts up with the family. So today, as we speak, we must stand firm on corruption so that we uproot the real cause of the suffering of Ugandans. And the only way we can do it is by even checking on our close people. Let it be your wife. Let us start up with your family. But because this is not a family, this is a country that has laws that bind us, we have to stand firm as Ugandans to see that we address these issues. All right. Honorable Member of Parliament Nyeko, and also a subscriber to the National Unity Platform, giving us his 2 cents on an individual level, on a parliamentary level, but also on a party level. Now, it begs the question, if we all remember the Last Supper with our Lord Jesus Christ and his disciples, he did stand up and say that one of you is actually going to betray me. They didn't mention who or how they were going to do it, but we all know the affairs that went ahead and happened thereafter into the death and resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. And so it begs the question, when is the resurrection of the National Unity Platform holistically going to be happening? I'll leave that question to you, and we'll see how time goes by. Time is the teller of everything. Speaking of time, we take a break, and when we return, we have the bishops in the house to give us their 2 cents on the times that we are in, the Easter festivities.